Hi everyone, and welcome to our first Courtside Lessons. This is an opportunity for us to discuss certain topics that coaches teaching the game of basketball and players playing the game are going to be faced with throughout the season. This is going to act like a mini clinic, one being on each topic that we can fully discuss and teach and help you through and give you opportunities to go ahead and overcome these obstacles that you're going to be faced with. So be sure to leave us a comment on discussion points or topics that you would like us to cover. I hope you enjoy. This is Courtside Lessons. This is lesson 1, titled, "It's Not You, It's Your Coach." Now, with saying that, that's not necessarily really true. But what is true is that the idea that a player can't improve to a certain extent, or that they only have a certain amount of God-given talent, or they only have a certain potential level, or they've reached their ceiling, or whatever excuse that a player wants to invent to explain why they haven't been improving. There is a reason for that. And when we talk about that reason, there's a specific thing that occurs, and there could be a specific person that is helping in this situation, and we'll get to that specific person. And when I say helping in that situation, I mean making it worse, allowing you as a player to not improve. And we'll get to that in part 2. What is true about this statement, though, is that if you are not getting better and if you're not improving a certain aspect of your game or any part of your game, it is the fact that you are being miscoached. And when I say the term miscoached, I'm not saying that anyone's out to harm you or anyone's intentionally trying to destroy your game or not let you improve. But what I am saying is that the person that is coaching you isn't able to identify what it is exactly that you need to improve upon and what fundamental basic needs to get in first before you can improve and take your game to the next level, so that you don't have a ceiling that you tap out to. And what likely person that is doing that to you, I'll leave the accusations for later in part 2. But first, let's define practice, and let's take a look at what practice actually is. Practice is a time and a place where a player and a coach should be able to and should always be slowing things down and taking things step by step, and allow that player to do everything with perfection. It's a time where a player can fumble through things while learning and learn how to do it correctly, without being criticized, without being degraded. It's a time where a player really needs to take the time to be able to go through the move or whatever it is that you're learning and be able to do it by and with perfection, step by step by step by step by step. And that's what practice is for. Practice is for and is the time to be able to perfect something. And then gradiently, and this is where the role of the coach is unbelievably important, gradiently, and knowing when the player is ready, is that you increase speed, is that you increase degrees of difficulty. When you can add defense to it, and you can put the defense in specific situations, and so that they're actually teaching the offense and the offensive player how to get better, how to observe the situation, and what reads to make. Now, the coach is the person who not only knows the perfect technique and can observe it, but can also observe the player's ability to assimilate that action and be able to put it into action, into game situations. The coach also has to have a superior ability to be able to observe the player and what they're going through. And as they're going through this certain action, are they doing it correctly? And can you correctly correct the player step by step by step by step? It's not something, and I see this so often when I go into different practices, where a coach will teach something, the players will do it, and they're doing it by themselves. There's no defense or there's no offense. So if they're learning an offensive move, they're just working what we call 1-on-0. And first, they don't do it correctly. The coach doesn't correct them. And then they go from a 1-on-0 situation to live game situations. And the player is never able to replicate that move that was taught in the game situation. So it's basically wasted time, and the player's not getting better. The coach also, in that same sense, has to have an ability to lead the player step by step on a gradient level to add defense. If not, the player then just gets overwhelmed and they don't want to do it, and they feel like they aren't able to improve, or they're not able to take something that was taught to them and put it into a game situation. And you find a lot of players who just at that point want to give up, or they stop listening to the coach. Next is, a coach can't coach something that they don't have knowledge of or they don't have certainty on. In that sense, it's kind of like the blind leading the blind, where a coach is trying to teach a player something and they don't know how to teach it, or they don't know what situation it gets used in, and they fumble through. And again, it can lead to the same situation as I mentioned before, where players stop listening to coaches and players stop believing that they can actually get better. And that is the role of a coach. Now, what is the role of the player? That's in the next lesson, because you have to have both parts if you want to be great and continue to improve. So thank you for watching. Again, comment below if you have any questions or discussion points on this topic. It is a hot topic. I'd love to answer questions, and I'd love to have more discussion about it.